Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and I'm here to do a full moon reading in the sign of Libra happening on the 24th of March 2024. So I just wanted to show you some cool stuff here. I don't know if you can see this shine here, right? I started out by putting my Buddha. I normally have it here, right? And then I took it and I put it over here, and then suddenly I saw this shine in right of the like a lit up third eye or something. Maybe some of you are experiencing a third eye opening. Or by changing location or by shifting from one perspective to another, you could have an epiphany about something. Okay, so let's have a look what else we get here. So full moon in Libra. Full moon usually talks about a wrapping up, like we wrap something up, or we have the opportunity to wrap something up that has to do with balance in your life, perhaps in this case for Libra, being the scales. Balance in work life and private life, balance in, let's say, a relationship in some way, balance inside yourself, balance with what's yours perhaps and what's others. Like, how invested are you in something that is yours, and how invested are you in something that has to do with others? Can you find a better balance? So this is a process that never continues. Like next year and around the same time, we will have another full moon in Libra, and for other people it may be their full moon, right? Maybe that's the time where they will balance something in their life, or there is an opportunity to. And this could have been something that you thought of half a year ago when we had a new moon in Libra, because there is a saying that these moons are, working with each other. New moons can be about new, manifesting new, having new opportunities, or new, Libra is ruled by Venus, new relationships, perhaps, even love relationships. There could be something, a new moon could, for Venus and for Libra, could indicate like a new relationship, a new crush. Full moon could be an ending of something, or, maybe it's an old relationship, but you still were, maybe you still had your, maybe you still had attachment to it. Maybe you were still angry, or maybe you were still holding on to something, and the full moon can then indicate there is a possibility to be done with something, complete something, fulfill something, end it, or you could say, like, completion can also be like finishing an education, like you get to the end of an educational time perhaps in your life. So we could talk about fulfillment also, that we are ending something, that it has come to a natural end perhaps, and then maybe you start a new education. We are also right here just touching upon the Aries season, which is also about like new, you could say. Pisces being the elderly, the 12th house, the oldest, the finishing zodiac sign, you could say. We then have the first house, which is Aries, and this is now the beginning of something. In the opposite hemisphere, we may also see it as the beginning of spring, and there can come new energies in with Aries. Aries, being the opposite sign of Libra, is maybe challenging your balance, right? Maybe something quite fiery and feisty and will strong, because that's what Aries is. It's young, it's feisty, it's fresh from the oven. It's right, it has just hatched, it's ready, it's strong, it has, you know, a willpower to go out there and experience everything. And then Libra, on the other hand, you could be more needing to balance your life a little more if you're dealing with an Aries, for instance. Because opposites do attract, so maybe you are dealing with Aries energy in some form by someone else, or just Aries energy in general from society, from, you know, this idea that we have spring coming. Sometimes there are things are being arranged, like conventions and parties and things like that. Easter is here also, right? That there's this urge to like embrace the new springtime and the outdoors, perhaps. And maybe you want to balance your life more, or you find it maybe difficult to balance it, or you are actually wrapping it up by saying no to something because it's not in your interest. We'll see what is here. But I just found that it was quite cool that this came up as some kind of shine or something here. And it just happened to reach exactly on the head of my little Buddha here. So maybe again the third eye, a clear seeing third eye can be, you know, we see through the lies, or we see through some kind of messages or something that may have been important in your life at some point, but now they are not. Like, you see them differently, perhaps. We could say that there's a fire here, so like an urge to do something, an urge to, like a drive in some way to take some kind of action. So let's have a look at the cards here for you. For all of you out there, for all of us, this is a general reading, so of course it will not be for everyone, right? It cannot be. Just take it how it resonates. If not resonating with you, then of course just don't do it, or just don't take the message, right? So I get here in the middle, Freya, the goddess of discernment. I spend my time wisely. I only say yes when it's a holy hell yes, right? And this is exactly what I talk about. It's about balance. It's about balance in your life. Are you saying yes to things, or did you say yes to things that you actually don't want to do or participate in or be part of? Have you been using your energy in a way where maybe you shouldn't do that? We see it also with the cards here, that this card is in the middle, so it indicates, you know, maybe where you wanna, like, this could be the standpoint where you wanna take where you're choosing from, like that you have a standpoint and you are choosing, your choices are coming from that standpoint. So you want to be discerning, I feel like. You want to be able to say, I only say yes when it's a hell yes, or it's like, yeah, definitely I want to do this, right? In the roots here, we have the root position, we have the 10 of Wands. The 10 of Wands is something about like carrying a lot of load, and you have been carrying it for a lot of time, and it's Wands energy here, so fire energy, right? And so you have been carrying a lot here, a lot, maybe other people's stuff here, carrying something. And when we are doing that, it becomes a burden, right? It looks like a burden. It's heavy on his body, on his he is carrying it, but it's like it has come to a final place. The 10 usually also indicates like the end, or again fulfillment or completion of something, a completion of carrying, or maybe in this case it feels a little bit like, because Wands energy for me can be something like will. It's fire energy. It is what I just said. It's a place from which we make our decisions and then we take action. It's the go-getter energy. But you see, if you're carrying so many here, it may not be yours. Like these could be advice or, other people's will that you have been like somehow complying with, and you have been carrying all their their voices here. Like you could hear all their voices in this. Can come in as a feeling that you know that if you actually should be discerning here, and you're saying no to, I don't know, let's just say an Easter dinner, let's say that you want to say no to it because actually you are not, it's not, you don't feel like it. It's not a hell yes, right, for you to join it or to participate. This could then indicate that you know that they want you to. Like it's like you're carrying their voice with you, right? Their voice of will. That already before you pick up the phone and you call them and say no to this party perhaps or something, you know already how they are going to question you. You know why, but why? It's Easter. We always gather when it's Easter. It's tradition. It's the right thing to do. It's, it's about Jesus, and all these like bad conscience and all these kinds of blame thing here. It's like being burned by other people's opinions or other people's wills, right? And it is in the root position that somehow you should feel burdened. But it's a 10, so I feel like you have come to an end about this. Like it's time to, I almost want to say burn the bridges. Maybe you're not quite doing that, but it feels a little bit like that. When we have carried so things like this so much, it becomes too burdenful. It burns you too much, and it's a lot of load to carry. Sometimes I say fire is, well, one wand is like a life force, a clear, burning, beautiful life force where you know exactly where you want to go. This looks fun, I want to go there, right? But when you have 2 or 10 here, it's like you are carrying so many different wands, and only one is maybe yours, but you see it's mixed in with all the others, and you can't seem to discern which one is actually yours and which one comes from something else. We know one wand can be your own. One could be your father's, your mother's, your brother, your sister, your work, your boss. Other kind of obligations like, be taking care of children or other kinds of, all these here are, or the feeling that your wand is split into 10. Like your wand is no longer the one that it was when you were a child, or because life has taught you that you had to split your wand. And some of your life force energy goes to the children, the husband, the brother, the mother, the father, the friend, the boss, or the workplace. And so what is left for you actually? Like there's a 10th of your own flame there. Everything else about your energy goes to something else that is not you. Do you understand? I hope you understand what I mean. The feeling of a split inner life force. That it's split, and it's some of, like the nine of them are speaking about other things that you would choose. Like they would dictate something else that maybe you only want, that is the true one here. That is the one that where you would say, yeah, this is a holy hell, yes. And therefore I go towards it. But the other nine here, they are maybe not. Like they may come from something else. They may come from, obligations, or I ought to do this. Easter can be a big family tradition time and religious time to come together. I'm not saying it's wrong or anything. It's just an example. It can be anything here. But there is this feeling of being maybe splitting your life force energy, and it has been a burden to carry all these interests with you. All these different interests that are actually not yours. Then when we have in the crown chakra here, and this is how you think, and that's why I think this is important to have in mind, that it's how you think, it's how you discern yourself, right? Because what is she doing? She's standing in the water here. It says luminant essence, and for me it just comes across as such a peaceful, beautiful connection here, where she's definitely vibing something here with the heart. And so maybe there's something here that you would like to do that is your a holy hell yes choice, right? And what you are doing here is not this, you are doing something here that is a holy hell yes, if we can say that, use that word, right? And when you're doing exactly this, it gives you so much joy. It lights you up. It revitalizes you. It is, as I just said with the scales, right? It's something like, as Aries could be very, well, there are all these parties and all these get-togethers. Let's get out and do all of this stuff. Yay! Right? And we will see family, and all the children are there, or grandchildren, and everything. Have a lot of dinner and a lot of food and a lot of whatever. But actually, maybe you want to be alone. Like maybe you want to, I don't know, go swimming here, or the water is here. Maybe you want to sit with, maybe this is a special connection you have with someone, or you are rather wanting to sit and meditate, be quiet, or go within, and that would be the exact opposite than this, right? This would be where you are listening to other people's fire here. There is also a discerning between the fire and the water here, with the heart here. So fire and water, which one do you choose, right? It seems like fire is a burden. It seems like it's difficult to manage or to handle. There comes a lot of heaviness, I just feel like, where this feels more like it makes you lighter. It's easier to breathe, right? Where this makes it tougher and much more difficult to breathe, and actually also direct your own path, I want to say. Here it's like you are filled with maybe other people's advices, and you go in some kind of direction, but actually it's not yours. It's not your own. And it's like this full moon can be this time where you're kind of wrapping up the times in your life, perhaps, where this has been happening. Wrapping up the time where you are, again, splitting up your life force here, right? Where you feel that you have to somehow, I feel like it's like you're almost carrying other people's, well, fire can be beautiful. It can be exciting, and it can be exciting. It can be something that inspires you, that motivates you, that is a thrill. It's funny. But fire, we know that if it burns too brightly, it can also be disastrous. It can burn the house down, right? It can, if fire becomes too overheated, it becomes aggression, it becomes angry, it becomes, so it's like carrying. Fire here can be anything in that regard, right? That people expect things from you. It can be that they are angry with you if you are not showing up, or they become disappointed, and they will let you know about that. They will tell you if you are not living up to their expectations, and so on. This can also feel like you are carrying other people's maybe judgment of you here. It is fire, not air, but still, when other people exude their will towards you, it depends on whether you can, like, are you taking it in? Like, if they get angry at you, are you taking it in? And where are you carrying it here? Other people's anger, perhaps, or other people's projections towards you. If you take it in, it becomes almost like a coat you're wearing, where other people can store all their nastiness or all their anger, maybe, or frustration or bitterness or something, that they just throw it onto you. And if you are not careful, you could take it in, and then you get to live your life always with these voices here that are constantly bombarding you with some kind of information on how to move forward in life, on what choices to make, on being a good person, on being a religious good son or daughter, or whatever this is, right? That there are all these wills. There will always be wills out there. People will have different wills. People will have different preferred outcomes, and they would like you to be part of doing that for them, perhaps, that when you comply with their wishes, then they have the preferred outcome. But you have many here, right? It feels like there has been many that you somehow should divide your attention on, and all of them want some kind of preferred outcome with you. But none of it is actually maybe this is your preferred outcome, and your preferred outcome looks very different than this. This can also talk about fighting. Sometimes when people have strong wills, they end up fighting with each other. And maybe you are carrying some of this to avoid fighting, right? Because you may want peace here, heart connection. You may want peace, others may want fighting, but you don't want to fight them, I think. Or at least the energy right now with the full moon with Venus would love more than fight. Venus is more a lover than a fighter. So sometimes we carry something here to avoid, a conflict, or to avoid disagreement in the home. But actually you would prefer, it's like how the beat from each hand here, that there's this beautiful heart healing. You would prefer that instead of any kind of quarrel. But you see, this could be someone who is hearing the anger, hearing the frustration of others, but they don't fight back because it's like, then I just create a conflict. But at the same time, if we don't say anything, it's just such a discrimination to ourselves. This can also talk about having a lot to do, like a lot of chores, you could say, a lot of jobs or a lot of chores, a lot of tasks to get done. And maybe this is what you have been raised to do, that you have to work a lot. That work just is a part of life, and we have to do a lot of it and carry this. That this is what is supposed to be, what life is supposed to be, hard work or something. But it feels like there's a voice here that is saying maybe that's not like, maybe that's not exactly right. That what if life doesn't have to be that hard? What if we could have a much more balanced life here? Maybe a more peaceful, maybe a calmer life, or a life that just feels like, when I look at her, I just feel like she's in such balance here. Like the way she stands, the way she holds her hand, it's like she has this very fine balance between her, like her torso is straight, and she has very fine balance here where he is tipped over, right? Like that he is not in balance, and she just seems so straight and like very even. Yeah. And maybe you want to focus more on your balance and peace here, or calm, or whatever that is. Love here, a relationship here. You could say this could also talk about, let's say that there could be an urge here that people want you to work, but actually you want to prefer to be with your family. The one you love, the ones you love, that you are preferring that over maybe something else. We could talk about that someone is on the brink of retirement, perhaps, right? That maybe again your roots, they have told you, and you have learned always that life is a hard burden. Life is work. Life is trouble. Life is disagreement. Life is fighting. Life is a fight. But you want a life that, what if I could create a life here that is not like that? Like, what if I could have more peace in my life, or more balance again in my life? Therefore, I have to be more discerning to say yes or no here to what I want. What I really want, right? I spend my time wisely. I say yes. I only say yes when it's a holy hell yes, Freya here. So there's also something about being brave enough to maybe like withstand other people's judgment or blame or something here, because it's not worth it for you, right? At the bottom of the deck for the 10 of Wands, I get the 8 of Cups, where you're walking away from something you were very invested in. This is a driver card. Driver cards tell us something about the recent past or something you have been like doing for the recent past that have been leading up to this, right? So if you feel like this reading could be for you or it resonates with you, then you may have been able to you may recognize some of this, that this could have been something you have been occupied with that is leading you now to this situation. So it seems like someone walked away here from something they loved. This is a Cups card. Walking away, 8 of Cups, is leaving something behind you may have invested your heart in, right? You may have invested a lot of time, a lot of effort into this. You may have trusted it, and you may have had like a lot of investment, a lot of loyalty perhaps also here, and devotion, but you're leaving it here. You're walking away from it. Towards the 10 of Wands, it's like there's a lot of work, or a lot of, again, as I said, wills to satisfy, or so this can be anything. Like has been a lot of fighting or a lot of strife. It's definitely something about not wanting to carry a load here with someone who doesn't seem like they love you. Or when the 8 of Cups is here, it's usually something about a loss, a grief, something is done over, or at least in your book it is. Someone could have left, of course, but it can also talk about you leaving because it becomes too much of a burden for you to stay. Like the investment you've had in it is too burdensome. It burns your heart. Again, you are here, she is heart healing, I feel like. She may be focusing on heart healing here because something here felt very terrible. There could be betrayal here, loss, grief. But it could also be, let's say, someone was betraying you, someone was unfaithful, or like they hurt your heart in some way. It was a lie or something like that. And you decided to walk away, or you had to. Maybe you were forced to if you lost a partner. So willingly or unwillingly, you were forced on a path of leaving, or letting go, or leaving behind certain things here. And maybe it has been a terrible time here to deal with life, to deal with shows, to deal with life in general, and all other people's advices and all other people's opinions or ideas. Maybe also we have here, this can be your own anger. That maybe you have been carrying a lot of anger yourself because someone betrayed you, or lied to you, or stole from you, or left you in some way. So it's both a heart and fire thing that is on the stake here. It maybe it has been difficult to walk with all this. Again, the fire here can be your own fire, right? It can be your own. If we can have resolution with a person, that we have to walk away here, but we can have resolution. It's like we can be very angry with them. We can feel the need to have resolution or closure with them, but we can't get it from them if they are not here anymore, or if they left and you don't know where they are. So you could have been carrying resentment here, or anger, or frustration, or bitterness, or whatever this is. And it's like, because of that, because of this experience, you are now becoming more and more aware of what you will say yes to or not. Like maybe I choose my own peace over everything. Like I have been invested with my heart before, and it gave me such problems here, or such anger, or such inner feeling of being like I can't have resolution perhaps here, because it's like they are not there. It doesn't even help that I'm blaming them. Like maybe they are already in another relationship, and you are just, maybe you are frustrated, or you were here. But it is a 10 card, and it tells me that it's like it's coming to an end, or you have somehow figured out how to take each of these wands off your shoulders and just let it be. Like somehow let go of whatever attachment you may have had to a situation here. I feel these are attached together, right? That you had to leave, or someone left, or it was a brutal loss here, and you carried such anger here, or such resentment, or pain, or anger luring under the surface, but you have nowhere to direct it because the person is no longer there, or they're not listening. It's like if you're speaking with people who have no empathy at all, they don't care how you feel, right? They don't care. The next card here is Isis, the goddess of magic. Sexual energy is sacred. My pleasure is a prayer that brings me back to life. So again, I feel like it's inverted energy that is concentrating on yourself. You have been invested here, but you walk away. You invest in your own energy here, and you're trying to manifest from that point. Manifestia here. I always see this card a little bit like being on drugs, actually. It looks like hallucination for me, or being influenced by some kind of being a bit high, actually. Being high on something. That's the coloring and everything. I just feel it looks like a blissful state of fun, or what can I say? Like, fun times, festive times. A bit like, very colorful, very playful, maybe. It could feel a bit like a fun, lighthearted trip, like an LSD trip, or some kind of, you've smoked something, or you have, I don't know, I'm not saying you should do that, right? But it feels like that. Like this can even feel like falling in love. And I just feel a little bit like falling in love, maybe with yourself. Like you walk away from something here. You invest in your own energy. Isis is known to be, my pleasure is a prayer that brings me back to life, right? So it's something about coming back to your own energy here, and from that point manifesting a much more colorful life, perhaps, or a life that is in accordance with your preferred outcome. You could say that you are in the midst of the preferred outcome you would like to have. That's also why I see her here so embedded in her own energy here, with from the heart space, trying to manifest or have the life that she wants, right? Which I think is a beautiful energy to from a place of being hurt, I feel like, and feeling that you have been maybe very resentful or maybe very angry, or you have been listening to other people's. Again, this can also talk. I feel like a vulture with this energy also. Like the vulture energy is for me like the burned out housewife, right? The housewife that has been so dedicated to the home and the children and their husband and everything in it, and she has done this for 30 years, and then the children move out and the husband finds another mistress and leaves her, and now she stands there like, but I have been so devoted to all of this, and like carrying, the resentment here of feeling, but I thought we were in this together, right? I thought we were a unit, right? A unity. I thought we were like, I have done everything I could in this marriage. I have taken care of the home, the children, the cleaning, the dinner, the cooking, the everything. All of that stuff, that was my investment in this. And now you're leaving me for some younger model. So it's this burned out housewife, right? That 30 years has gone by, and in that process she has grown gray hair, and she's no longer 25. Her body doesn't look like that. She's had 2 or 3 childbirths. She has invested all her time, all her effort in pleasing or taking care of all these people here, and everything that they wanted, all kinds of stuff. And then it's like she stands there. The children have moved out and her husband has left, and she just stands there with no, like I'm not doing that again. That's the feeling I have from these cards. I'm not doing that again. I am not investing myself like that again. I will not carry the burdens of others like that. And I don't want to be angry, right? I don't want to have resentment. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to have all this weight on my shoulder. I don't want to feel so heavy. So it feels to me like someone here is deciding to choose their own peace, to go towards something that feels, like great in their life. That's something that is uplifting and fun and colorful in their life, instead of, being invested in other people's stuff. I'm not saying you can't be. It's just the balance, I feel like. It's the balance of something. This could also be like, someone managing someone else's calendar, that they have all these appointments here, all kinds of things that they want to do. Like they have dinner there and party there and weekend trip there and boat trip there, and and it's all in the calendar, but actually you don't want to carry it, right? It's their stuff, so let them do it. I'm walking away here, but still feeling, an aftermath I feel here, right? That even though I walked away, even though I still had resentment, or I was still angry, I was still frustrated, I was still bitter perhaps. Maybe I was hating it. I hated this situation. I wanted things. I wanted to do things on my own, but I couldn't now. I couldn't because I was now in a situation where all the things that I may have wanted in my life, I couldn't do it because, I don't know, maybe you lost money, maybe you housing. Maybe the person you were with here, maybe they stole from you. Maybe because you were married here and you became a single parent, maybe you couldn't, you couldn't date, you couldn't go out. You had to stay at home with your children, or all your own dreams or your own wishes or your own will. The will always seeks some kind of preferred outcome, and if you can't have that, it's like we get a bit burnt, right? It's like, we can be frustrated that we can't go where we want to go. We can't seem to. It could be the feeling of being limited in some way. So you carry all of these dreams, or you carry all of these matches inside you that just keep burning, but you can never really go towards it. You can never really take action on it. And then eventually it becomes something that burns you. When we look at the tarot set, the Page of Wands that has one wand doesn't quite know yet exactly where he's supposed to go with that wand. He knows that there are things he likes and things he doesn't like, but he's still figuring it out. Then suddenly you can have 2 wands, you can have 3 wands, you can have 4 wands, you can have 5 wands in tarot. And it all indicates like a mastery level of the fire, how to control the fire in you and what you are experiencing. Like sometimes the 5 of Wands can indicate struggle, fighting, right? That you get into a fight with someone. 6 of Wands can be success, you overcome the burden. 7 of Wands can be that you have to stand up for your own right, you're fighting off others. 8 can be, again, many messages or many wishes, many wants or wills that are colliding with your own. 9 is a burden, again, difficult to navigate. And then 10 is where you have come to the end, you can no more, you can't carry it, it's done. It's weakened. If I keep doing this, it's going to weaken me, so I have to let it go, right? I'm letting it down. And letting it down means that maybe you need to say something to other people, like literally saying no or put up a boundary or something. Or if we talk about repressed resentment here, or anger, there is no good way, or there is no, because either you hold on to it or you let it go. Like you can shove it right in the head towards others. You can project all of your own on someone new. Like if you meet someone new, you can tell them about this experience. And they will probably, again, 2 things. Either they listen and understand you and stay, or they run away because they don't want to deal with your stuff here. Right? Like you now don't want to deal with other people's stuff. Not if they are not not honest, not if they are not investing in this you're building together. Because you are focusing on your own peace here, your own bliss, your own fun life here, your own peace, your own calmness or balance here. They would do the same perhaps. That's what it is when we meet people that have been in relationship and they come out of it like this. Like if we meet them during this time, we can feel that they are hurt. We can feel that they are burdened by whatever they have experienced. And maybe that's not the person we want to be with, right? No, we want this one. We want a balanced one that is full of fun and can see the bright side of life and can smile and be happy, and that's the one we want. And I think you know that. Like you know that this is what you would prefer. That is the preferred you here. but you're still dealing with, let's say, some of the things here that come from your root. So root can talk about that, you know, maybe you have childhood experiences here where someone left you or a parent left, and it made you like work, you know, like maybe you had to work more. Maybe you, depending on your age here, like maybe you had to do a lot of chores in the home. Maybe you had to get external work to help with the money in the home. Or maybe you just had anger that someone betrayed you or left you here. Again, someone may have left, and not only did they maybe betray you, leave you, steal from you, but they also left you with a lot of, you could say, work. Like if they were leaving and you were the only one there to now take care of the home, the children and everything, like you got overburdened here by something, because someone may have left, or maybe they died, and you know, it's difficult to have resentment with someone who dies, right? Like it's, how can you blame them for dying, right? But you, and maybe you're not blaming them, but it still left you with a lot of, like it still left you with a lot of burdens, right? It still left you with a lot to do, and your resentment or your anger may still have been there. That like it's not fair, and unfairness. It's not fair that I now have to carry all of this. So, because I have this, you could say, in my root, because I know that this is something that I have experienced, something I've dealt with. This could be my childhood experience. Then I have a difficult time, or you may have had a difficult time, you know, just being happy in life. Because this may have been always, you know, like a ghost thing almost that was with you, like it felt like it was there sitting on your shoulder, a reminder. And it has required healing here. Isis is known for the resurrection, right? That she resurrected Osiris, the one that she loved, her husband, who was killed. My pleasure is a prayer that brings me back to life. So I feel like she's in a process of rebuilding herself, or as I said here, it's like standing firm and straight again, where it feels like someone got very overburdened by life. Again, I feel like walking away here with the big moon here. That, well, it could be that you're walking away from someone, but there is a shadow aspect, a moon aspect to this. And again, sometimes, you know, if people split up in a divorce, it may be the right thing for you to do, right? That it is the right thing for you to do, but there's an aftermath to it. So maybe your children don't get it, they don't understand, right? Maybe your grandparents, or your own parents, or your in-laws may not understand it, right? Maybe the splitting of in a divorce gives a lot of extra work, like there's a bringing and more driving. Maybe there's, you know, like two different wardrobes, two different sets of shoes, two different there can be this like bringing back and forth is, and the agreements that need to be done. Maybe there is even, you know, like legal like a lawyer or some kind of judge that is deciding when and how and so on. So it becomes more burdenful. So walking away, but it brought with it a lot of work here, or a lot of that you still had to carry, right? That it was still there. And you have tried to bring some kind of joy back into your life, I feel like here. But it may have been difficult because you've had some kind of grief, I feel like, or loss here. Or just a decision, like the decision to walk away. Sometimes the decision to walk away makes you the bad guy, right? It makes you the one that is ruining everything. It makes you the one that is like the terrible one. But you may need to do it to have a better life for yourself. But it like the choice is maybe still not that easy. You can make the choice, you can walk away, but the aftermath of it is, that's what I feel like is here, that there's an aftermath of all kinds of stuff that maybe you were not prepared for that, or you didn't know that it would be that much. And you're getting to a point where you're just saying no, like I'm done with all. I can't please everyone. I can't please everyone. Like everybody cannot get it their preferred way. Like I will eventually maybe disappoint someone, but that's just it. I choose my own peace here. Like whatever they may want, I can't really deal with that. Can I have another card on the Ten of Wands, please? Yeah, you see, I get hostilities here, right? That you had to fight, maybe, like fight for this right to be free, fight your way through the jungle. There could be disagreements. As I said, when we walk away in a divorce, for instance, like it can create all kinds of disagreements and the feeling that you have been like involved in a lot of hostility here, a lot of like anger, that there could have been a lot of anger projected towards you, right? That you had to live with all these like I know when people leave, for instance, families or relationship with narcissistic people, like the response to that, to leaving, like family dynamics like that can be extremely angry, and there's a lot of flying monkeys and gaslighting and things going on. And if you are alone here, which many people are when they leave situations like that, it's like you are dealing like the entire world is against you, because nobody gets it. Like, but you seem to have this great relationship. You seem to be so happy. Why did you leave? He's such a gorgeous catch, and so on, right? Or she is. So leaving is sometimes not understood. And I see it here with the hostilities, that there has been a lot of hostilities. Like you had to fight your way through the thorn bushes here, right? You had to be brave and fight for your own right to be discerning here and choose what is right for you. So Okay, so one more card, perhaps on the Eight of Cups. Can we have a card of on the Eight of Cups here? The leaving part here. Okay, interesting. I get the High Priestess here. So the High Priestess with an Eight of Cups tells me that it's like there's some kind of knowledge you knew. You had the ability to see through the veil of something, see through the veil of some kind of lies, perhaps. Like the devotion you had with something, suddenly you managed to see through something. The High Priestess is usually someone who is, well, she knows stuff. Like she can be psychic. She has certain abilities and she has certain abilities. She can definitely work with the moon. We see the faces down here, if you can see them. But there's another thing that when this comes up, this can also be the reason why you leave. Like maybe you figure out that you are like a high priestess, that you're recognizing something about yourself and something you feel like you should do in this world or in this life, something you want to choose over something else, that it becomes more important than something else here. So you may be leaving something behind here. But it's because there's another calling, or it's because there's something that you feel like you have to pursue. I feel though it's a combination, maybe, that both there's something that you have realized about yourself and you know something, like you have figured something out here. The High Priestess also goes well with Isis, right? That you are you're choosing to heal something here, or you're choosing to build something here that brings you back to life. That brings something, or that brings you back to life, it says here. Because then you're choosing the desired outcome. That you're choosing your own outcome, your own wishes, your own, and you're trying to manifest this. Can I have another card on this manifestor here? Because I feel, to me, it always comes across like being a bit drunk, or it's a very blissful, funny, colorful, dreamy, fantasy-like world to be in here. Daydreaming or something like that. Yeah, you see, so I get the beauty way here to kind of illustrate or clarify, and it definitely is. The beauty way is a sweeter life. It's a more beautiful life. So in whatever way that may be for you, and again, you are Libra. You are Venus. You are known to have Venus traits. So the beauty way could be makeup, maybe. Maybe this is a very colorful makeup. Maybe you're a makeup artist here. Maybe you are into how to enhance yourself with beauty. Enhance some of your traits with beauty. Sweetness. Beautiful smells. Something that your senses are picking up on, that is, again, the lotus flower that opens, becoming receptive to the beauty ways, to the beautiful parts of life, where this feels much more like struggling and hostilities. You're concentrating on the beautiful parts of life. You're concentrating on the, maybe, as I said, makeup. It could be clothes. It could be all kinds of colors. She has blue hair here. Maybe you're experimenting with style, with whom you want to be also. I feel like trying to manifest maybe a new sense of you, a new kind of, it's like, again, look at, I don't know if you can see it, but when we look at the headpiece here of Isis, it's like she has there's a circle, and then there are like two there's a circle, and then kind of two flames, or two that goes upward here. I don't know if you can see it on this card, but she has a bit similar. There is a center here, and then she has one that goes up here and one that goes up here. So again, that for me is a confirmation that you're walking away here you're walking away maybe because something didn't work for you, but also because you wanna that your pleasure is that what brings you back to life. Like you're walking away because it's time for you to, again, she is behind a veil here. We can only see bits of her. We can only see a bit of her face here. The rest is kind of hidden. So there could be a time where you have been needing to walk away, where you were doubting, or you had doubts about what this is, what you're feeling. But then it becomes more and more clear that this is what you are, that you wanna pursue some of your own things for your own, you could say, favored outcome. And the favored outcome here is the beauty way, where you can relax and open your leaves and become receptive and be feminine and show everybody your beauty, right? That you have something very special, that you hold something very special, and if people don't see it or don't honor it, you walk away from that. And I think you have done so in the past. These are driver cards, and you are now in a process where, again, you're putting the hostility. You're saying no to these hostilities here from other people, I think, because he is not just waving his sword for nothing. It's because there's someone in front of him. Like there's someone in front of him threatening him. Otherwise he wouldn't wave his sword. He would relax. Hostilities always indicate you versus something else. So there's something else that is, that feels like it's aggressive, or it wants to threaten you in some way. And when we talk about this, it's like the end of some kind of hostilities, that you're no longer fighting with something. You're no longer engaging, or maybe you have detached yourself here. Like, I don't want to deal with that stuff. I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to fight. I'm not a fighter. Again, the beauty way, the lumen essence here, it's not a fight, right? We even have lotuses here also, right? That it's, I've chosen the beauty way. I've chosen the kind, the sweeter way. I've chosen peace for myself. I've chosen to surround myself with something that is calm or helpful or beautiful or colorful, or like I'm embracing, that whatever is around me is beautiful in some way here. That is at least on your mind, or has been on your mind, and you are now in the process of, or maybe during this full moon, in the process of actually realizing this very beautiful water, lotus water here. That is, it feels to me like a heart coherence or something. Something has clicked into place that just feels right. You're choosing something that feels right, that is calm and peaceful and sweet and beautiful here, and supportive perhaps, instead of these hostilities here. But you have grown up with hostilities, I think. Like maybe there has been something there, and we tend to like traumas from childhood, when we haven't dealt with them, we tend to find ourselves in similar situations again. When we grow up, when we become young adults, when we have our first relationships, we tend to find a partner that mimics something because it hasn't been dealt with. One more card on the Ten of Wands and the hostilities here. Can I get one more card on that? Let's get this deck here. One more card. Can I get a little bit more about these wands here? So I get here the Four of Ariel. It says, when you give, you also receive. Being resistant to change and extremes in how you save and spend money. So interesting. Yeah, when you give, you also receive. So when you send out, like, let's say, anger here, when you send out an image of being ready to fight, that's also what you're gonna get. Like if you believe life is a struggle, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get more struggle. Be resistant to change and maybe having a hard time changing that belief system. Extremes in how you save or spend money. So yeah, there could be something about money problems, that some of the hostilities may have been about money. Again, the Wands energy can be, as I said, you have many dreams perhaps. You have many ideas of where you wanna go, but it never gets done because it's too expensive, or you are too hung up on, the normal life you have, or all the things that you want require a certain amount of money, you don't have it. So it all becomes, like something you carry on the inside. It's never something that gets done, or never gets like a procrastination. You never get it to flourish because there's no time, or there's no money, or you want to spend maybe your money, or you have all these kind of desires here. Fire energy can be desires, that you have many desires, but they never get effectuated, or they never get done, or never pursued, because you don't have the money, you don't have the time, you don't have the health maybe to do it, because you have been struggling all your life. So you have been using a lot of energy on fighting off all kinds of stuff instead of actually having a good time, right? Instead of manifesting some of this, you've concentrated on the fighting and not on the peace perhaps, or again, fighting off other people's needs and wants and desires is not giving you pleasure, right? Your own pleasure comes from things that bring you back to life, not from how to please other people, or not to help them have their preferred outcome. Helping others having their preferred outcome doesn't give you a preferred outcome. It doesn't give you the feeling of pleasure or fun or everything. It's work to you, right? It's work to you here. Ten of Wands can be an addiction. Sometimes when you try, the first one can be this is an exciting thing, I could try this. Again, this manifestor thing that I could, I see it sometimes as hallucination, like a dream or daydreams, or it could be invoked with, any kind of drug or alcohol or something, you know, some kind of, it's like being in a realm that is fantastical in some way. How you get to it, like how you get there, I don't, maybe this is just, you know, like you are playing around with makeup and wigs, and you imagine that you're this like extraordinary high priestess from another realm and so on, right? I don't know, but you could be playing around with wigs and makeup and all kinds of clothes. What it tells me here is just that it's a more fantastical world. It's a more beautiful world. It's such color and light, and it's easier. It's funny. It's brighter, lighter, more colorful, right? Where when we are dealing with these moon-like energies here, it's tough and burdensome, and it's more gray and cold and tougher, where this is much lighter energy. But for you to get to that point, you had to go through some kind of change, and with the high priestess here, and it was actually a clarifier for the Eight of Cups. So you walked away from something because of her here, because there's something about her that should come to the surface, that she's this Isis here, right? So you're using or tapping into some energy here that is helping you to see more of what you actually are, how beautiful you are. The manifestation could also be that you're actually manifesting beauty, that you know that you're beautiful, that you know that you are sweet, that you know that you are kind, that you know that there is a beauty way in life. There is a life of like support and help, and there's a life of kindness. There's a life of color. There's a life even. It says here, bring me back to life. So this could seem a little bit like being not dead perhaps, but being not living a life. Like you don't feel that you're living a life like when you feel like that. It's like you're not living your life. You're living maybe other people's life or what they expect of you, but not your life, right? And here it's like you're bringing yourself back to life. You're trying to manifest here, bringing yourself back to life, believing in the beauty, seeing the beauty in your life, seeing it in your surroundings, becoming aware of the things in your home that you're actually truly grateful for, that makes you feel like this. It could be places where you feel so, like if I go to the beach, I just have this experience, right? So maybe you become very grateful for the beach or the woods or the little cabin you may have somewhere, or maybe a little garden or something. Maybe, I don't know, this can be pets, it could be anything where you just feel like when I'm with this, when I'm here, it just feels beautiful. Maybe you become more aware of beauty, what beauty is, that maybe you see more beauty. You see it in the small flowers around you. You see it in a crystal, maybe. You see it in, I don't know, the soft pillow that you have, or you see it in your own eyes, right? Maybe you figure out that I am beautiful here. I am beautiful. And the way you're manifesting it, I don't know. As I said, it could be daydreams, it could be you're creating some kind of fantastical world. Maybe you are an avatar in some kind of computer game. Maybe you are playing around with style and makeup and hair and shoes and everything. maybe this is an inner feeling of beauty, that it's an inner manifestation, right? That you feel more bliss inside, you feel more gratitude, you feel more happiness. And from that standpoint, you are now in this luminant essence. Now the lumen kind of indicates that it's a flare up, that it's like a flame or something that burns, and maybe that's why I was pointing to this in the beginning, like a flare up of something, like a flame that keeps burning. That you have lumen essence. Maybe other people can see it as well. Like maybe they can, or they have figured out that something is going on with you, right? That you become this lumen essence. So maybe it's not just maybe an internal thing that you're experiencing. Maybe it's actually outside, and also now that you choose to go more public, perhaps with something here. Show it more. The lumen essence talks about self-love, the light that radiates from our heart, light shining in the darkness, heart-centered living, removing your heart armor and accepting your shadows as the flip side of your strength, a vulnerable, wide open heart, authentic, heartfelt needs. So you see, from being very burdened and maybe closed off and tired, I feel like also from this card, tired of fighting, tired on being on guard, perhaps also tired of being resentful or holding on to all resentful ways of thinking or living, because this is what you have experienced. So holding on to an attitude of needing to fight for everything in life, needing to fight for your right, needing to be on guard also in relationships, right? That you could not be open. You were holding on to resentfulness or fears, perhaps. And you were on guard here, you know. And when we are on guard, it's like, even though it's in the subconscious, even though we are not quite aware why we are on guard, why we feel heavy, or why we feel like protecting ourselves, or again holding on to all resentful feelings, repressing your own anger, repressing your own needs, perhaps, right? Or desires. Holding that back is like a fire inside that never seems to stop, right? It's like it can't have an outlet. And maybe that's why we have her here, Isis, because she works with sexual energy. She works with fire. My pleasure is a prayer that brings me back to life. Pleasure and beauty way can definitely be linked together. Something that is fun and light-hearted and beautiful and kind or supportive. Something that I like, something that feels good, something that is a pleasure. It can be sexual, sensual, it can be very little, but still there, you know. And you are choosing only to say yes to something if you really, really feel like it. And that's the beauty, I think, of the message today, is that someone has become very aware of what they want to say yes to or not. Choosing self-love here, that this is in your mind space, but also knowing where you come from, perhaps knowing that resentment or old anger or old, you know, when I look at him, it feels to me like he's on guard, right? That he's prepared to fight off. And it means like that there's a part of you that has been struggling with not being on guard, I think. You know, like this could be a nervous system that is always a bit alert in some way. And that can be difficult because when you have that, it's always on guard. You can attract like more. You can attract something to you that where you need to become on guard again. Unless you realize that maybe you shouldn't hold on to it as much. 10 indicates that it's coming to an end, that you're realizing that it's not helping me to hold on to old grudges or inner resentment or unfinished business. It's not helping me. It just keeps me attached to the past where something like this happened. And it's not helping me moving forward. It's not helping me in releasing her or figuring out who she is. It's not helping me get to a better life, right? And I'm focusing on a better life here. When you give, you also receive. So if you give resentment here, or bitterness or hate, that could be also what you receive. And being resistant to change, maybe you have been stubborn or you have been fearful to change. And there could be in extremes in how you have been saving or spending money. So again, maybe you have been very, very into like very embedded in lack mentality. Very feeling very threatened, I feel like. That there was so much that could threaten you. And it has been such a burden to hold on to all these potential threats or potential outcomes of something. Yeah, that's what I feel. Worries, a lot of worrying about. But maybe, and because of the worrying, because of that, you use your life force energy on it. Like as I said, with the split life force energy, is like 9 of your, you could say, wands here. 9 of these 10 wands were worried or afraid or resentful or angry or something. And it uses up your energy on something like that, where you only had one little particle, 1/10 of your own energy that could actually take you to this, but it was overruled by all the others. All the worrying, all the resentfulness, all the old memories, all the lack mentality, all the feelings of needing to be on guard, it overruled everything else. It took over. It became like a dominant voice in some sense. And when we are on guard like this, we can't relax, right? Like someone like this can't really think about his own self-love. He is on guard because he feels threatened. There's a lion here attacking him, or there's something here attacking him. And if something is attacking him, he has to be on guard. So he's worried, he's on guard, he's ready to fight. He cannot relax and think about his own self-love if there's so much hostility around him. Then he has to get out, right? He has to fight for his life. Maybe he has to run. Or if he couldn't run, he had to, like these could also talk about war scars. Like he has been fighting, and every time he was wounded here, every time he came out as the loser perhaps, and he has been gathering all these scars, you could say, or all these lack of success as failure memories, and therefore he couldn't move. He procrastinated. He couldn't change. He was holding on to the wounds. He was holding on to the fights. He was holding on to the the failure feeling maybe here, the losses. But with the Ten of Wands, I'm still seeing that it has been difficult to change. It has been difficult to let go of being on guard. But with the 10, it tells me that something is changing. You are not engaging unless like you really feel that you want to. And actually you are concentrating more on what gives you a better life, a brighter life, an easier life, a more fun life, more beautiful life. Beauty can also talk about like what surrounds you, so the people around you, what are they adding to your life? Are they adding beauty? Are they adding kindness and support? Are they adding like an environment where you feel you can relax and be open and receptive? Like the lotus only opens its flower up if the environment is like nurturing and good and kind, or it provides something for the flower, right? Otherwise it won't open like that. So that's what I feel like. I also have a dragonfly here, and then there's we have dragonflies up here and here also surrounding her. So it feels like to me something like she'd rather prefer her own self-love and being surrounded by something here that has a particular tune to it, that has a particular helpful or supportive kind of and heartfelt connection, I think. Something where she can be vulnerable and open. So I wanted another card on the Lumen Essence here, and I get Patience card, which is a rather annoying card to get when we want to manifest something, because patience is like divine timing, Sagittarius energy. It's something where, again, I feel like when I look at her, it's like she has wings. She's very white, very clear. I feel like us, the Sagittarius energy is like a philosopher. It's high skill, can definitely be a high priestess here. A high priestess in growing a high priestess here somehow. But you see, it's like there's this focus on the heart. I said like that both of the hands kind of keep wanting to send these energetic waves here to the heart center, and there's this clock in the middle here also that kind of is lit up. I feel like becomes more lit up, more energized, but it shows a clock, and the clock is about time or divine timing, that something comes in when it's ready, right? That something grows. It's a bit like like when a bird hatches from their egg. Like it won't hatch unless it is ripe or when it's ready. So you're working on self-love here. You're working on growing. I feel like growing your Isis here, growing the goddess of magic here, because it's a big change from a very low vibrational state to a rather like beauty way is like very light energy. It's a big change, and it may take a while, right? So you need to be patient with yourself and your choices. and growing. Perhaps this is all a high priestess in progress, you could say, growing her here. So I wanted to have another card on the High Priestess here, and I get the Soul Radiance here, Phoenix Rising. Yeah, I feel definitely that you are, and again here, Phoenix Rising. We know about Phoenix that that it's this bird that tries to, I want to say, birth itself. And with Isis here, it's a bit of the same energy. It's something about bringing yourself back to life. The phoenix tries, and when it fails, it returns to dust, you could say, and then it starts again. It tries again. It returns, but then eventually it's like it's becoming more and more. And it seems like there has been a time or somewhere in the past where you felt something, where you felt something needed to maybe be repaired or figured out here. You started working with some energy here to bring life back to you in some way, manifesting a different, happier life here. And you're still doing this, like you're still in this a vulnerable phase where you are doing your heart healing, needing to have like self-love. Having patience with yourself is a self-loving act. And now I just flipped over my beautiful little angel here, but nothing happened to her. And you see, like this is and again, what does that tell me? Well, it tells me that maybe you need to have patience with your you could say transparency here, with your vulnerability, with he comes across as very man-like and masculine, where she is very feminine here. The lotus is also very feminine. It won't open until like the environment is right, that it feels that it's not opening. And no flower is. Like no flower is opening unless there's warmth and nectar, or there's a environment that is right for them. Otherwise it's not opening. So and this soul radiance here, and the high priestess, is that you do have some kind of very special soul vibe. For some out there, if this resonates, that you feel like you've been going through some kind of process, is because you are healing something here. You're healing something, but having patience with yourself, and maybe the level of transparency, maybe it needs time. So don't overdo it. Like, again, only say yes if it feels like a holy hell yes, right? That when that what you are building or creating or growing is like, if we see these cards here, it's like, don't fly until you're ready. Right, your wings here, don't fly until you're ready. Like, take your time to be sure and grow this, and only say yes to things in your life if you really feel like it's in accordance with the new you, or it's in accordance with this project you may have here of rising, like raising or ascending your vibration or something like that. It's not a phoenix rising takes time. It's not something done quickly. It cannot be done quickly. It cannot be done quickly. It's not like that. Let's see if I can find it here. Oh, it's actually the last card. Interesting. Number 53 here. It's the last card. Again, I get this feeling of completion or something. So the Radiant Priestess, and we have a High Priestess here, the Radiant Priestess calls out that your ultimate victory is at hand. Her arms and wings are raised in salutation. A new beginning is arriving after a long and perhaps difficult time, and I think it has been here, right? In fact, you are about to take the flight of the phoenix and rise above the ashes of some old unwanted fire. Yeah. This fire may have taken different forms: work or finances, relationships, or health issues to varying degree. It may have seemed like an interminable dry spell, a lengthy period of waiting for change or longing for a resolution. Or the fire may have been much more severe, involving loss, anxiety, and deep grief. And maybe all of it, right? There may even have been times when you felt the difficulties would consume you. And that's what I mean with life energy, that it consumes you, so you get like very weakened. This card is telling you that those times are coming to an end. A newfound sense of freedom arises. But don't forget, the source of real power and freedom is always within you. When you find yourself living through a dark night of the soul, remember the presence and truth of your spirit. Your soul's resonant frequency vibrates with divine light that no darkness can diminish. It is only when you obsess about your personal problems that you feel surrounded by loss and limitation. That could be what this is. It also said something about being resistant to change, that we can become so obsessed with something that it's the only thing we can focus on. So remember the presence and truth of your spirit. Your soul's resonance frequency vibrates with divine light that no darkness can diminish. It is only when you obsess about your personal problems that you feel surrounded by loss and limitation. But you must let that force you go. Real solutions arise when you open up to the power of your eternal truth and perspective. So if you are still trying to overcome a difficult situation, or if something has caused self-doubt or a loss of courage, pause to meditate on your own inerring, unending light. For it is this divine frequency, your own soul's radiance, that will finally lift you above the old limitations into free, unfeathered flight. And that's what I feel like she's doing here. Like she has the focus on wanting, in the crown position, having the focus on wanting that life more than the struggle that she comes from, right? And that is a big thing for Venus out there, for everyone who carries Libra or Venus energy, Taurus also, any feminine energy out there, to lift yourself up and to choose to go somewhere else, or to choose your own peace, to rise again. Have patience with yourself. Patience is a big thing, I think, about the healing process, that we want it to be quick and over quickly perhaps, but that's not how feminine energy works. Feminine energy is slower, has its own pace, it has its own time, it has its own way of solving the problem, where a masculine energy would do differently. A feminine energy has to go through the heart. So be patient with yourself and your inner high priestess here, that you have the ability to rise, and just be patient with yourself. And this full moon is here to kind of maybe helping you with some of this. But you know that you can't be on guard and masculine and ready to fight, and then be extremely open and feminine and vulnerable at the same time. So I think that it's also about a choice. It is a discerning here. What is it that you want to figure out? And that's maybe also why you had to leave, because a certain situation that comes from the heart, that is asking you to reconnect with your heart, that is asking you to look at your inner high priestess, is feminine. It's not masculine. So it's a different approach, but we are not used to that so much. We don't even know how to work with the energies. It's like I have done that in my life. I've tried to demasculinize myself, to you could say take the armor off, the armor of fighting or being ready or being on my toes, a bit like this, like always being ready for hostilities, always being ready to fight, or always being ready to flee the scene or to fight against whatever came. But that is not very feminine. It's actually a quite masculine trait to be that kind of warrior. This looks way more to me like someone who's not a warrior. And Venus would not be a warrior. It's ultra feminine energy. So it's and to embrace that, like really embrace it, with the beauty way here also. Like the beauty way is choosing a way of thinking that is not hostile. It's not hostile. The beauty way is both a path that you travel on and a daily practice. The path is where you choose to perceive only beauty before you, behind you, and all around you as your journey through life. So this is something about only seeing through the channel of beauty, before you, behind you, and all around you. The practice is where you take action to bring beauty to every situation you're in. When things get ugly, you act to bring integrity and peace to the difficult encounter. When everyone else perceives only darkness, you point out the light and help uncover the hidden treasures. So this is a very, you could say, special choice here, that even when there is darkness around you, even when there is war or hostilities or, as I said, rumors or gossip or anything about you, you decide that I will find the beauty in whatever situation it is and see things from that perspective. That this is something I choose. It's in your crown position, so you choose to surround yourself primarily with this. And if something comes in, you're still trying to see the best. That is definitely a way of raising your vibration, and also a way of attracting more, you could say, beauty into your life, more kindness, more color, more vibrancy, maybe peace, maybe calm, maybe rest into your life. It's just about being patient to actually stand in that light and actually being able to like fully do this all the time. But because you see, if someone can live a life like this, they will always look for the bright side of life. They will always look for the possible growth in a situation or a possible solution, instead of being focusing on problems or war or pain or suffering or lack or something like that. So this is what I have. I hope this helps somehow, someone out there. Again, it is a full moon reading. You can do a full moon ritual where you are trying to, you could say, end some of these hostilities. You can focus on that or you do the opposite. You focus on the bright side here of life, and because of that, you're saying goodbye to these, right? Because you're focusing on this, you're saying goodbye to that you're kind of done with this way of thinking, right? So you concentrate more on this way of thinking, which is not what we normally do, right? We tend to remember the bad stuff more than the good stuff. Here it's like you're asked actively to try to do differently, that you actively do decide to focus on the good side and the good stuff every day, finding 5 things that you can be grateful for every day, or everything that gave you joy, or something that gave you just a slight sense of smile or pleasure or relief or breathing, right? And every time you do that, you become a little more focused on like the good side of life, and not always the bad side or the terrible side or the side that gives us unease or dissatisfaction. And still, it's something we can control. What other people do, we can't control what other people do, but we can look at ourselves here. Yeah, this is what I have. I hope this helps somehow. Take care of yourself, everybody out there. I send you my very best. Love and light to you all. Bye bye.